Hey, hey, welcome to Your Best Podcast, where we discover all the ways that you can have your best. I am your host, and I'm also the best life coach. My name is Teemaree, and my clients, girl, boy, okay? I lead my clients through breakthroughs in life, health, business, and spirituality. So you know I'm all about this, your best life, and I'm all about introducing you to various paths and people that can help you as well, like our guest today. Sasha Greenidge is a certified mindset coach that helps guide women to the path of their purpose and their life's work. And she specifically uses a cool tool that we're going to dive into today, which are gene keys. So this is all about what are your gene keys. But first, let's let this woman speak. Sasha, welcome to the show. And please let us know right off the bat where we can connect with you.
So you can connect with me on IG at Sasha Harris _Greenidge. Website is going to be intuitivedesigncoaching.com. And I look forward to hearing from many of you and seeing you and checking it out. But I'm so excited to speak on Gene Keys. It's
awesome.
Like my thing.
Awesome. I have so many questions. So I'm really glad that you are here and that you're going to break it down for us. You know, as the best life coach, and I lead people through, different breakthroughs, as I shared at the top, I'm always looking to understand different modalities. I'm not necessarily going to be able to perform all of those modalities, but I also am a student myself that continues to grow and develop and learn. So I have a lot of questions about this topic, and we're going to get real basic because I want you to break it down for us. So off the top, question number one, what is a gene key?
So gene keys are basically our conscious. It's our different consciousness, whether it's in our nurture or our nature, that based on our birth date and the time we were born is what we were here to do. I know that there's a whole scientific thing. We can go into frequencies and spirituality, and it is ancient wisdom from the I Ching and all of this stuff. But ultimately what Ra-Uru, who did human design, and what Richard Rudd, who created the gene keys, he was a student of Ra-Uru, who wanted, were people to be able to study themselves. And so basically these are your pathways to your purpose, understanding your relationships and your prosperity, and just different consciousness, depending on whether it's your life's work, your purpose, your evolution, and being able to study yourself and put a name to your paradigm or your shadows or your gifts or your city, which is your highest frequencies. So it's very complicated. When people look at their design, they're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is crazy. I don't even know where to start. But that's where people like me come in, and only as a guide. Because I see a lot of people, she doesn't know enough about like this to speak on this. And what they really wanted was for all of us to study ourselves. So there wasn't to be an expert on anything. So you're looking at your design, and even with me telling you exactly what this means, and, if Richard Rudd himself was here just telling you these things, you have to study it because you've went through many of these experiences that you can go, yep, I know how that comes up, or wow, this is where I'm supposed to be. Now I understand how I need to get there and like what powers I have to get there.
I really love what you're saying about the whole concept of being an expert. So if we can camp there just for a sweet moment, because I think for our listeners and then just us as coaches, the topic of being an expert, having expertise, etc. Let's talk about the nuances here. I love what you said because it's very key. So there is no expert technically because we will never land. This is a continual evolving experience of life, and therefore we should, and it's terrible to should on ourselves, but
right, exactly.
This is a case where we want to be open to the reality of continual evolvement, because that is actually the natural point of what we're here to do. However, we want also to count on receiving help, receiving guidance, receiving companionship by folks who have come before us to guide and or have spent a dedicated amount of time studying and learning and traversing a path you may want to go on. So I love what you said about that. I think it's very key. And I think, as a coach, whether when I first started or coaching people, that thought of I'm not an expert, so I can't go and try this thing or do this thing. Ugh. Or some people feeling, they're an expert. Unfortunately, then sometimes they're locked into this one idea, and I'm like, oh man, you're losing it. Yeah. So
that's where that came in for me, and actually learning that, because I always felt like, and I always preface this like there is no psychosis within me, but when you start to learn your gene keys and there's a specific line number, and they don't always play nice together. So for instance, like many people in the community might know, like if I say I'm a 1-3, my 1 loves foundation. It loves safety. It loves to know, like even on here, do I know enough? Do I know enough? I go through this before any speaking event, any like podcast or anything, or even before coaching a client. But I do know enough. And that if I had allowed just that conscious, because my 1 is on my conscious side, to just sit there and say, you don't know enough, we got to study more, versus on my unconscious side, my line 3, which is like, oh my God, we got this. We need to fail forward. We're not going to get this right, but it's okay. We'll just fall down and do it. But now stepping into my 40s and realizing other things, like I'm stepping into that 3, and we're trial and erroring through everything, throwing caution to the wind a bit. But yeah, it's really learning through all of that, gurus and things like that. We have to put the power and the knowledge in the hands of clients.
Each individual. Yes. Yeah. Okay, hold on.
Because that's how you have to learn. That's how you have to learn. Yes. That's actually where my line 3 is. I have to learn through experiences. And so this is, and I have to, and I'm here based on my design to teach others to do the same purpose. For me, I'm specifically choosing women, but that's what I'm here to share, is like, that your design might look different. Somebody's line 1 might be on the unconscious side, and that's what they have to learn to do, is to learn more about something. But for me, where it is and things like that, we have to do that. But no matter what, I always am like, I can study your design the way I study mine, but you've lived it.
Yes.
And there's things that just have to come up, and you have to have your own ahas as it comes up. Yes. And then as a coach now, for me, this is great for me only because I become like a surgeon. Like I know exactly where things are now. I know exactly what's coming up and can name that for them. They'll figure this out themselves. But when we come to meet together, it's actually a really beautiful thing to be able to just say, all right, this is coming up for you. You're stuck in that shadow of inertia again, the XYZ, and then we go from there. And it's so much quicker to coach and to kind of do that, especially when they're studying themselves as well. So it's absolutely amazing tool.
So I'm not sure what order I should go in, because there's 2 that are kind of competing for my attention here, but I guess you were kind of alluding to that previously. So what do you use gene keys for in your coaching practice? How does that help you in your coaching practice? Is that the foundation in which is it like a person's plan?
Yeah, it becomes that. It's a map. And I like to say, like, I'm this tour guide and your gene keys are just your map of where to go, because a lot of us, some people are living our purpose. Like we innately just seem to have followed, our gene keys pretty well. And we got that. And so some people might focus on a higher frequency of like where they could go even further. But this is perfect for people also like me who I'm like, I want to help people. That is so broad. that is just so broad. Like there's so many, am I helping, by becoming a teacher, which I'm doing now, but that's still not like as vast as I needed to go, but it really opens up who people are from what they see in themselves, a conscious side, and then this unconscious side where they're like, I'm supposed to do that. Like that was my first reaction to my coach. Oh, I must have the wrong design. Did I type in my birthday the right way? That can't be like a leader? Are you kidding? No. But it was, but the slow way of stepping into it, it's a very slow process. And like it should be with any type of coaching. I always say like 6 months or less. It's not, we got to put in work here. But it really shows people where they can go. It only shows you your potential like anything else, like where you could go, but it's stepping in, doing the work, and then being able to face those shadows, which are like your fears that come up.
I love a lot of the things that you're bringing up that I think are important things for us to highlight. So one of the things that I think are really important, like in my case, I have a variety of coaching programs, and I totally dropped like the hottest lava rock. I dropped the whole, you can just contact me for a session. Like that's not happening because unfortunately it started with, and I know you can relate, this heart of service. I want to serve people. I want to help them. If they need something, I want to help. But in coaching, as in anything good in life, we need to put in the work, and that is consistency. And so if you just are tapping your coach for a session and you feel good, which you will feel good because you're going to have someone that is listening to you, you're going to have someone that helps to navigate that, maybe those next steps. And that's great. And there are some people who can take that and do something with it. I'm not saying that individuals can't, but in order to truly have something that's going to make you feel great, you've got to consistently go. So I like that you mentioned consistency and including with this work, because especially one might assume, hey, if there's a plan, then what is it? Do you just spit out a blueprint and hand me a plan and now that's it? I go and jet off into my greatest, dream. No, it's consistency. So I like that you said that. And I like that you said, doing the work, and that you mentioned that you get coaching yourself. Please, please, girl, break it down for folks that might be considering like, I know what I know, or they might be thinking like, hey, I don't need help with this, or who gets help with like their mindset and their emotions and like planning their life. They might think it's too fancy. They might think that they're not worth it. They might not even have the space right now to even think about, if they're listening to this podcast, they are, but they're dabbling, right? They're like, go further. Please share with us what has, on a personal level, investing in coaching, investing in learning these gene keys, what has this done for your life?
Oh my God. It's completely changed the trajectory and the purpose and everything in my life. Having a design also the way I do, of that trial and error that I spoke of, nothing ever is going to, and for the rest of my life, because this line 3 is there for the rest of my life, nothing is ever going to come easy. And this is for all of us, whether you have this line or not. Like it's always going to come up where we change and we evolve. I've studied the same activation sequence in my gene key, and I keep studying it because I'm showing up as a different person every time. No matter how successful you are, you've now reached a plateau where you need to now elevate again because you do not want to stay the same. Coaching has just changed my life because it was having a neutral person come in, and it's also great for people that have gone through therapy as well, but now are at a place where that might not be for you anymore. And that's not to knock it. We should all get to a place eventually where you're at this neutral space and you're like, okay, what next? And that is the perfect time to get a coach. And even if you decide to be a coach and you get a coach, that is still the best thing. I have hung on, we're together 3 years, my coach and I, and I continue to learn. It's a great way to continue to exercise your mind, and change perspective on things, or have somebody coach you on a different perspective. Cause I'm very straight, in terms of what I'm thinking. And you kind of grow together. You really, really grow together. It's something that everybody needs. Everybody is looking to what is on IG or Facebook, even if you're not on that, you're still having stuff coming in from media, from TV, wherever it is. And I almost guarantee 90% of you out there listening have not studied yourself, really gone deep and studied yourself. Because I thought, I went to therapy. I've read a couple of self-help books. Oh my God, I went through this. I was dredging up stuff like I'm still am, like going through it. And it's great to have a guide, really, to kind of like say, all right, this is coming up for you, and to give you tools and guidance, never advice so much, because that's your work. And you have to be willing to kind of put that in, but it's a game changer. It's time that all the answers are in you. And that's cheesy, but it's fact. Because I just kept looking to the next person to kind of find the answers for me. And it's never there. I would have searched my entire life, gone to my grave, just looking within friends, parents, influencers, whatever. And God, the gold inside me.
It's great.
I'm
great.
excited.
Yeah. For me, what I love about investing in coaching is I love the time savings. Okay. I love the time savings, because time is something that is the greatest thing that we have, and it is finite. So I love the time savings of that. I look at the manifestation windows from my past, before I had these tools and before I had help, to now, and it is shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. And I think we all want that. We all want to be as happy as we can, as fast as we can. We all want to have as much as we can, as fast as we can, because why not, right? If I tell you, can you getting guidance helps us through that. I also love the support, because the truth is that, I always tell my clients, or not my clients because they're already my clients, but people that are kind of on the fence, and they're like, and I just tell them, listen, it's really risky to go on your own, man. It's really risky to go on your own, because there are emotions, there's overwhelm. There are sometimes where so many options open up that then what happens is you're gambling with the potential of you dropping it all completely, because it became too much. And then what? So it's really fascinating to dive into these concepts, especially because I think that's another misunderstanding people may have. Someone that is in now the role of a coach, or a consultant of some kind, is never saying they have all the answers. They're just helping folks with the areas they've specialized to this point. And so I think it's a good thing for us to always kind of bring that, when we can, into the consciousness, to say, hey, these might seem like strange investments off the cuff. It's not like, hey, you're going to buy a pencil, or you're going to buy, but it is something that will save you time, money, make you feel better, make you have deeper understandings and awakenings. It's awesome. Now, really, of course, going back to Gene Keys specifically, how do you access? You said a little bit about the birthday. How do you access a person's Gene Keys?
So they can go on and, or I could go on for them, but you can go on genekeys.com and it's free, free profile. And then Richard's really great. He actually has I think there's 3 pages where he goes into stuff you can read, and it's beautifully done. He's an amazing speaker and writer, beautifully written. But we still end up a bit confused, or still, what is he talking about? This life's work. And you can read where the sphere is. but with help and guidance, there's a beautiful way to do this, and slowly, because there are some people that spend like a month on just one sphere, and you can, because for some it opens up a lot of wounds, and a lot of like that shadow, because we're very intimate with our shadows, paradigms, things like that, and we like to hold on tight to our victim stance. And the beautiful thing is showing people their gift and what they can do and what you're here to do, and how you can, that potential of what you can show up as, and if you choose, and when you don't allow certain people or things or circumstances define you. And it's a beautiful way to go through. And some people will kind of go quicker than others, but it's a slow process. And when you do have to read this book and study, like mine, I have like tabs and just highlights and everything. And then I've gone through this with my children. But the level of just helping yourself, because my husband is still the way he is. He's not doing any work. Mm-hmm. I've done massive amounts of this work, and it's changed the way I parent, seeing especially my son, his design, and the way I show up in my marriage, whether that works out or not. I can honestly say that before it would be like me holding and gripping the wheel of this marriage, where it's like, this is how I'm choosing to show up to be, because this is all I can be. And he has his own set of designs that he can show up to be that person or not. And it's, you start to really look at the world and people differently, because I have blinders on what I can do and how I want to show up. There's rarely any more, jealousy, I would say, of like, oh, you got this podcast or whatever. I'm happy to be on here collaborating with you today. That's my view. Right. So it's a beautiful view, where it's like before it would be like, maybe I should do that, or maybe whatever. Like whatever. And now it's the only time I have blinders on is for what it is that I'm here to do. And it's that simple. And any issues or anything that comes up, and this could be in any kind of modality, is just study yourself.
Sure.
Just continue to do that. We can get ideas and things like that. Like I said, I do have a coach, but 9 times out of 10, it's like, did you look here? Did you like, you know what to do? Like, and I'm to that point now where it's constantly just, if anything comes up for me, I can almost coach myself.
Right.
And that's where we want to, because she's like, you know what to do, you know where to look. And people now take ownership of their self, their own authenticity, their purpose, their life, and where they want to go. And that's the goal, is to get as many of these people to kind of start to have the light bulb go off and be like, holy cow, is that me? This is me, and this is how I get to show up. And then take this to the collective, instead of like this inauthenticity that's kind of like hanging around lately. But I'm glad a lot of people are waking up, so to speak, and kind of making coaching more of a thing, of a really healthy thing. But it's amazing work.
I love it. I love it, because there are so many avenues that we can take that can help us to experience our best. So whether it is holistic healing methods, things that can cause us to access various states of our health, rejuvenation, reinvigoration, reversal of symptoms, elimination of states that we don't want, dis-ease, we can do things there. And there's a lot, but if you're looking at the most popular bandwidth, especially in the United States of America, you might not be hearing, most likely, about 99% of the things available to you to completely unplug from the thought of just getting old, brittle, sick, stiff, and then dying. It's reality. Same thing with our mind. And now we do have this, I love that I can see your lovely face. We can have this great conversation, and we are thousands of miles apart from each other. And yet there's also an aspect with social media that we're navigating, and we're now seeing some of the bad effects of this, you know, where with filters, with like right now I have lights on, people. I have lights on. I'm not glowing because my skin is amazing. There are 2 panels of lights shining on my face right now, and that's reality. And so,
Yep.
but you might not know that if you see picture after picture. So why
Right.
do we want to talk about these things? You might say, well, we all know this, but get this, even though we know it, we succumb. We
Yeah.
succumb to the race consciousness that is always around us. So you're absolutely right. As we wake up to say, hey, coaching is a great investment that I make to unplug from these voices that are creeping in on me,
Yeah.
self-help books, holistic healing, and on and on. So like with Gene Keys, I had seen something about it once on YouTube, and I'm like, what's that? But I didn't click in to watch the video. And then I saw a workshop flyer of someone saying Gene Keys is something about, and I was like, oh, that seems kind of cool. And I couldn't attend that day. And so when I saw you and your work, I thought, let's find out about this. What is this? Because I love learning about this. Like, okay, so it's like a map and there are things, but you still have a choice. And so you as this guide, okay, you talked about studying, like for me with my programs, I have 2 paths. There's coaching sessions, and then there's also learning exercises, things that can do to build that muscle. So if I were to tap you and I say, hey, Sasha, I need you to help me with my Gene Keys, what does that look like? How does this work?
So now, because what I was getting was like different people that wanted different things. And I kind of just had to say, okay, let me break this apart, which is kind of sort of what we were talking about before. So what I'm doing now is I'm having almost like what I call an emerald tier. And that is basic education, very quick videos on what this is, and going into more detail though. I always love to over deliver. And having worksheets and things like that. So it basically goes through your activation sequence, which is your core 4, your life's work, your evolution, your radiance, and your purpose, which makes up with the line numbers that I spoke about, your profile line numbers that go along with those, makes up 70% of who you are, who you be. So it really goes into that. It's a 3-month program where you're at your own pace. It's videos and worksheets and things like that. And then the second tier is going into the Venus sequence, which is like, it's deep. It's going into the why of your relationships and like really who you are, but really digging into it starts with your purpose and really goes into your IQ, your SQ, like your emotional intelligence, all of that. And we go deeper into that. There's more coaching if need be. And then the VIP, which is 1-to-1 coaching, you get like everything from like the beginning tier to now definitely more coaching. We talk about your prosperity sequence because there's 3 in there. There's your activation, your Venus, and then your Pearl, which is your prosperity. And then we mixed in with other coaching, and then 1-to-1 coaching for people like me. I need, like my coach, I'm like, I need to talk to you. Like people that are there, because I'm willing to show up and do like that work. But for people that are unsure and they want to try this first and then decide whether the mid-tier or VIP is like kind of great for them, that's fine. But it gives everybody the opportunity to learn something, and I'm still able to give.
Yeah.
But what I'm finding is when you get to the VIP, the people, you're a different person. It depends on where you are.
Sure.
But a lot of people just love to when they want to show up and they want to talk about this and really go in deep. I value my time too. And, and what started to happen was I wasn't valuing my time. So if you're very interested and you really want to work hard and work together and study together of you, then, that's the best option. But
I get
enjoy
it. Yeah, no, I get it. I have the same situation. I have, in my situation, I have books. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You can just have a little moment with a book. It's going to serve you. Great. Then I have a community aspect. Okay. Now you're going to get some stuff with me at group and you get to meet other people, and that's great. Now you get to, this is the DIYer person that wants to kind of dive in. You want to meet people. You kind of want to just really hash out your vibe, and I'll pop in every once in a while. My coaching programs. Now my coaching programs, I'm really proud of those because I give you monthly a coaching session.
Mm-hmm.
And I have teachings weekly. You're going to have something to do because, as you know, we got to get consistent. We have to practice, right? I mean, shoot, if we could just do something once, girl, I'd have 6-pack abs and be...
Right, exactly. We got to work. It's the work. And you really have to say, I want to show up to work.
Right.
And it's not going to be like, that's the thing that I tell everybody. It's just not going to be easy. And it's you. So we are all complicated and beautiful and everything, but we have to work. And when you see like the second people go into that first sphere and they're like, oh, okay, I get where we need to go. But once they have a handle on it and we start moving along, it's great. But I just had to put in that education piece because people are curious, and I'm like, you know what? Let me give a little something for people that are curious, and then they get to decide if it's something that they want to kind of take a leap on.
Sure.
So I kind of like that.
I do too. Yeah. And then that one-on-one, of course, is for that person that's really deep, and they want to go the extra mile and in every way, and they just see it differently, and that's fine. Everybody is welcome in their spot. You've kind of touched a little bit about it, but for that curious person, okay? For someone that's just learning about this like me, how can Gene Keys help people change their lives?
Oh gosh. Well, I would have to say is the best thing that I have found is that it helped me find my purpose. It really helped me narrow down and find my purpose. And it also, because I was always pretty negative, and it really shed the brightest light, and I mean a spotlight, on a part of me that I never would have seen. Like I never would have seen. And just me being here speaking with you today is a testament of that, because where speaking in front of people, showing up, immediately, just showing up and being, like just not going and doing little busy work things, like showing up and being and stepping into this person, whether at first believing it or not, put me in places and in front of people that never would have happened. And so I like to say it just really shines a light on your potential and where you can go. And then also gives you a better understanding of how you work. And we always say, sometimes we're always in our mind, but it really also helps take you out of your mind, put you in your physical body. For those of us that struggle with intuition and following that and ignoring every little nub, shove, punch from God, source, the universe, this kind of puts you back in where it's like, okay, now we're good. Like I'm listening to those nudges. This is why I show up like this. Again, my relationship, that's a hard one. The Venus sequence it's a tough one. But a lot of things, like, to hear that, like for one of mine, it was the escape artist. It's one of my lines. And where, like, when there's conflict, I like like to escape and be like, I'm out. I don't want to deal with this. So there's some hard truths that we have to look in the face and kind of deal with and confront. But, the beautiful thing is just kind of accepting that and saying, this is me and that it's going to happen again. But then knowing what to do and embracing that. And so there are beautiful things that come out of this that, you don't really expect, but really just finding how you tick and your purpose and and who you be, all of it, not just the parts of it that you choose to see.
I love it. I love it so much. I love it so much. What I'm hearing and what I hope that our listeners take away is that it seems as though Gene Keys are another path that you can take to deeply understand aspects of yourself, light and dark, so that you can then really choose what you want to step into when it comes to your destiny, your purpose, and so that you can navigate the waters of those emotions as they come. You can understand them better. They won't kind of overcome you and such. So it sounds really deep and rich and phenomenal, and really intriguing. So I'm really glad that you were here today to break that down for us and to share how you help people with this great tool and the different programs and offerings that you have. Please let us know again. And forgive me, I had mispronounced your name. It's Greenidge.
Greenidge, yeah.
Okay.
I know. My maiden name was easier. It was Harris, but this is like...
But thank you for it. Please tell us where we can connect with you further.
So when it's up and running, intuitivedesigncoaching.com. But for now, on IG at Sasha Harris _Greenidge. And I'll send a link for a clarity call that I like to do with people for now. And if you're really interested, and get in contact. And I love to just kind of get to know people and see where they would fit, what's the best fit for them.
That sounds very, very good. So you heard it here, y'all. And don't worry, in the show's description, we're going to have all that information so that you can easily access it. You can click through, you can find out more so that you can work with Sasha and find out more about Gene Keys. And if you are interested in finding out more about how to be more confident in making decisions like this, or in navigating different experiences or overcoming fear and things as they come up, then you can contact me and find out more about my confidence coaching program. I'm at teemaree.com or at bestlifecoaching.online. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to subscribe and visit teemaree.com/free for more goodness.